So important note here, Angelo, you actually raised your price target after this report, and you're considerably more optimistic than the consensus. The consensus is less than half of where you're at. What are you seeing to make you raise your price target and be so much more optimistic than the rest of the street?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we increased the target price to $270 from 260, and listen, this is a story right now where Apple is kind of I look at the quarter here, and overall, this is a company that's being extremely resilient. I mean, coming into the numbers, there was a lot of kind of hate into the stock. It was largely due to some China issues out there, and listen, they're holding up extremely well out in China. And they don't even have an AI offering at this point in time over there. I'd also kind of say they're executing extremely well on the margin side of things because of that services business. And I think when you kind of look here over the next 3 years or so, the upside is really on the margin side of things, and where the street is really underestimating the Apple story is on the margin side of things, as we continue to see more upside on services, as well as kind of cost component reductions in areas like kind of moving away from Qualcomm's modems.
All right. Good point on the margin. Margin a record 48.9. But I want to go back to China. Did you say that they're doing well in China? Because we're just showing the chart of their sales in China. Apple seems to be losing market share. And again, they don't have Apple Intelligence there. They need to partner with a local AI company. A lot of questions about if the trade war could lead China to maybe hold off on allowing them to partner with somebody, because remember, the state has to allow them to do so. What do you mean that they're doing well in China? I mean, we're looking right here, down 11%.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the better term is resilient, right? When you kind of look at the numbers, to your point, down 11%, and that was actually on top of a 13% decline a year ago. So you kind of look at that China business right now, and actually over the last 2 years, the China exposure has actually dropped from 20% of sales now down to about 15% of sales. So that from our perspective, that's actually helped de-risk the story to an extent out in China, in the fact that, hey, listen, we think that there's actually limited downside left to the China story. You go into the March quarter in terms of the guidance there. The reason we think it's actually holding up better than expected is actually because of the fact that China probably sees less declines than what we saw this quarter because of that national subsidy program that Tim Cook mentioned, and the fact that some of their lower price products should benefit more in that region.
All right, so one thing we talked a lot about here in Worldwide Exchange is the stronger dollar, the impact on multinationals like an Apple. I'm looking at the dollar up over 4% over the last 3 months alone. Huge upside move when we're talking currency. How is the stronger dollar impacting sales in China and even international sales other places?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely a headwind. I think it's acting about a 250 basis point headwind here in the March quarter. That's what's expected. And listen, again, when you kind of look at the guidance that they provided, right? The fact that they kind of provided guidance that was kind of in line with our expectations and that of the street, I think that is a very bullish sign in the fact that they are navigating kind of those headwinds better than we expected. We'll kind of see what the volatility of kind of some of these forex headwinds is concerned, kind of looking ahead over the next couple of quarters, seeing what kind of tariffs do, and as well as kind of interest rates and the impact it has on the dollar. But as you kind of look at it right now, they're kind of holding up pretty well here as far as the dollar volatility is concerned.